Hi, Kara here at Recherche Calves. I am here to give you the final video for Angel's Miss Purple Bean. The first thing I'm going to do is the microchip number. Alrighty, where is that? Oh, don't let me bonk your head. Now, it should be located right here on the back of, right on her back between her two shoulder blades. Place. The last four digits are 6960. When you pick her up, there will be information in your puppy pack as to where to register this number, because you want to register within about a 48-hour time frame, and you will register that number to your name, your phone number, and your address. Any facility that deals with animals will have a chip reader. It's a normal thing for them to have nowadays. So you will be able to get her back right away. Now, as far as the emails that you get, please read over all of them. Yes, she is potty trained to a certain extent, but when she gets to your home, there's going to be a lot of excitement, a lot of new smells, and a lot of new toys and things, and a lot more space. So being perfectly potty trained is impossible. So it is really important that you set her up to succeed and read those emails ahead of time. Set yourself up to succeed by figuring out a plan that's going to work best for what you're going to need, and being able to get her potty trained completely at your home. It won't be long. She's very smart. Just make sure that you're consistent. She will pick up on how to communicate with you effectively. You may pick up some of her signals by watching her. But ultimately, during those first few days when you're bonding with her, spend time watching her do her own thing. When they start to sniff or circle, that is definitely a sign that she's got to go. And at that point in time, you would definitely, take her out so she can go potty. So it's important to read over all those emails, but take your time when you're bonding with her to really watch her, but also play with her, interact with her, and let her know that communicating with you will be okay. She's just got to figure out how to do it. Now with the emails, you're going to get a bunch of things. Obviously, the potty training one is the most important. And the rest of the emails are that may have to do with actual training and obedience. Those are going to be secondary until you have built a bond with her. We believe that it's important for you to wait about a 3 to 5 day period before you take her for a walk or have any extended family, friends, or neighbors over to visit her with her. Now, what is great about this breed is they are extremely friendly dogs. They tend to not have any major issues with any particular people. Sometimes dogs can be a little scary depending on that dog's energy and their size. Thankfully, these dogs have been exposed extremely well to larger breed dogs and how they tend to play maybe a little bit rougher. And they do wonderfully with the other dogs as far as playing and interacting. But we feel it's important for you guys to spend time bonding with them so that they know who to signal to if they have to go to the bathroom. And a lot of times in those first few days with all the excitement, if she signals to the wrong person, if you have too many people in the home, if she signals to the wrong person, they don't catch that that's a signal that she's got to go to the bathroom, then all of a sudden we've ended up with a potty accident, and you want to make sure that you set her up to succeed. So we do suggest a 3 to 5 day period before you invite any extended family, friends, or neighbors over to meet her. And a walk really isn't going to be necessary until probably, like I said, about a 3 to 5 day period. She is going to have plenty of excitement being at a new home with new people. So as far as walks and getting out extra energy, it's probably not going to be as needed as, let's say, later on after she's been there for a while and the toys aren't as exciting anymore and the yard isn't as exciting anymore. A walk may be needed to exert some extra energy, especially if you're going to need her to be in a kennel for an extended period of time. Taking her for a walk and getting her tired before you're going to put her in there for an extended period of time will definitely help get her to understand that it's time to be calm and relaxed when we're in here. Now, as far as when you do get her home, I want you to give her a tour of the home on leash. I don't want you to carry her through the home. I would like for you to make her walk into it behind you. I would like for you to encourage her to stay right next to you when you are exploring it. Now, there are moments and times when this particular breed can get underfoot. So those first few days, it's important for you to make sure that you're looking down as much as possible. Now, I do not want you to uh, feel bad if any accidents happen, meaning you're walking and she turns and you accidentally, hit her a little bit. But understand that you need to give her that correction, that verbal correction, which I will go over. Um, if you're looking down and you're walking forward and you see her start to turn towards you, you want to give her that verbal correction so that there is no accident, there is no incidentals that happen, and ultimately she learns the proper position when she's walking with you, and that is to be next to you and not in front of you. Now she does very well with me on leash and off leash. Off leash, obviously, I have to give her a few more corrections because the leash does its own version of corrections. But ultimately, um, giving her a tour of the home on leash will show her that it belongs to you and you're giving it to her. If you let her run free through the home, she thinks everything is hers and she can do what she wants in there. When you're giving her the tour, take her to her bed, take her to the kennel, take her to where her food and her water are going to be, see if she would like any of those, and then go ahead and take her directly to the door that she will be going out of to go to the bathroom. Take her out into that area. Now, with her being a smaller dog, a small area is all she's really going to need to go to the bathroom. And that's great because then you don't have potties all over your yard. Take the time to really get her to try to go in that area, let her sniff around, play with her in that area, and get her to go. Don't clean it up right away. Let everything sit there for about a week or so. Ultimately, the more it smells like her going there, the more often she will go there, and that will help out that potty training. In addition, if you take her out and she doesn't really go, bring her back in, play with her some more, and then take her out again in maybe about a 10 or 15-minute time frame. It will allow you to set her up to succeed on that first day when you bring her. If you keep her on leash for a while and then continually take her out to go to the bathroom. As far as standard obedience, we would like for you to wait about a 10 to 14 day time frame. Ultimately, you have to build a bond. We built bonds with each and every puppy before we asked them to do anything or lure them into any type of training. We bond with them before we do any of that. So we do highly suggest that you guys wait and build a strong bond before you ask for obedience. So on those first day that you get her home, and for about, a 5-day time frame, don't say sit and expect her to sit. Don't say come and expect her to come. If she does come to you, say good come. If she does sit in front of you, say good sit. If you encourage that behavior by simply acknowledging that she did it, it will increase her desire to keep doing it. So those first few days, do not ask for any obedience. Just acknowledge when she does the right thing instead of ignoring it or maybe missing it. Also, if all you're doing are corrections, meaning, oh, she's not supposed to be doing that, and you give that corrective noise or whatever, she won't know what you want. So in addition to giving the corrective noise for inappropriate behavior, you want to say good, whatever it is she's doing, like right now, good place. Good place, good girl. Because if she wanted, she could jump off of that. She could follow me, but she's making the conscious choice to stay there and wait till she gets her release cue. So by me acknowledging it, she'll continue to do it. It's rewarding to her, so she will keep doing it. After about 5 days or so, you can ask her to sit. If she doesn't, I want you to mold her body, and that's simply by offering her some treats. Break. Offering some treats, pick her head up, push her rump down. Good sit. Good sit. Break. Break. Place. Good place. Good girl. So, by me simply molding her, I say the word, she doesn't do it, I mold her body, she realizes I will make her do it no matter what, she has to listen. If you end up having to mold her body, she's not quite ready, wait another day or two, and then go ahead and try again. Those are the tests in order for you to find out if she is ready to start doing standard obedience cues with you. And as I say, it could take up to, 14 days or longer. It could take as little as 5 days. But ultimately, I don't want her to be given a cue word and not listen because she hasn't had a bond built with you. So just don't say any of the cue words. Don't expect her to follow any of the cue words those first few days. And if she does well on the test, then go ahead and start doing all the obedience. As far as what you should expect from her, she knows the cue word off, and that means get your 2 front paws down onto the ground. And you give them about a second or 2 to respond. The littler breeds do like to jump a little bit more than the bigger breeds. So ultimately, this is going to be one of the bigger challenges that you're going to have, is to stay consistent at keeping all 4 on the floor. So if for some reason she is jumping excessively, you say the word off and you give her a second or 2 to respond. If she doesn't, you will, if she has a leash on her, you just give her leash pops and she'll pop right off. Now, if you can prevent her front feet from landing on you by either stepping backwards, stepping to the side, or walking straight into her space and having her kind of tip over and fall over, then she will eventually learn not to bother trying to jump because it's not going to get her what she wants. And eventually she'll learn to just sit. Now when she jumps, if she goes right into a sit, acknowledge that. Good, sit, pay attention to her, give her love and affection. This will increase the sitting behavior when you show up versus the jumping behavior. It will increase the sitting behavior when she wants to play or when she wants you to pick her up. And also if she wants to get on the couch with you or something along those lines. She will learn to sit instead of jumping. And as I said, the cue word for jumping is off, not down. So wait about 10 to 14 days before you start any of that. You can do the test at about 5 days. If she does sit on her own, wonderful. If she doesn't, mold her body into a sit, say break, and be done. Wait a day or 2, and then try again. And remember, 3 to 5 days before you have any extended family, friends, or neighbors over to visit with her or to take her for a walk. Now, as far as the sit, she has been taught that the sit will get her everything she wants. So if you want to play with her, hold the toy above her and stand there until she sits. If you want to give her food or water, stand there with it above her until she sits and then give it to her. If she wants you to pay attention to her, stand there or sit there and look at her until she sits and then go ahead and pay attention to her. Ultimately, she knows that sits get her everything, and that should be her go-to alternate behavior to barking, jumping, and doing all excessive behaviors to get attention. She has learned that sit gets her all the attention that she could possibly want. So the 2 things that you should expect from her is that she shouldn't jump, the cue word for that is off, and that she should sit for all the things that she would like from you. If she doesn't, wait until she does. If you think that you have a strong enough bond and you want to try the test, make sure you mold her body into a sit if she does not listen, and then wait a day or 2. Now, you've seen me give her some treats from time to time, and we use chicken and turkey hot dogs. They have to be very tiny, so what I have done is I take a quartered piece, which is like this right here, and I actually rip it up into tiny little pieces. She could totally take this and it'd be no problem, but this is going to keep her wanting more. This is going to fill her up. So you want the pieces of treats for training to be small. You don't want them to fill her up. You'd want them to be moist, meaty, and smelly because it's not something they get on a regular basis. Typically, kibble is dry. You don't want it to be crunchy because she will be concerned about the crumbs that she may have lost. And typically something that is dry does not have a strong enough smell to get their attention when you want them to be paying attention to you and ignoring a distraction that might be out in the neighborhood, or when you're training, you want her to be more attentive to you versus paying attention to what's going on around her. Now, if you want to use the chicken or turkey hot dogs, that's fine. If you'd rather get a healthier treat from your local pet store, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure it's moist, meaty, and stinky. That way, oh, and also bite size. As she gets older, obviously the bite sizes can get a little bit bigger, but I do highly suggest that you don't make them too big because she will get full and not want to earn more. As far as the leash that we use what's called a slip lead. And the reason why we use it is because it tightens down correctly versus pulling back on the dog. When you pull back on the dog, it doesn't create the same correction as the tightening down effect does. So we believe that this is the first leash that you should use with her consistently until you have a better relationship and she is listening better, because it will give the correct correction. So on one side there is a metal ring, and then on the other side there's the handle. You're going to take the handle and put it through the metal ring. That creates the collar and the leash. When you put it on her, you want to make sure that it's up right behind her ears, right underneath her chin. This is going to give the correct correction versus if it's down lower on her neck. Now, with a smaller dog, you do not need to do strong corrections. They respond to smaller corrections. They also are more sensitive, so if we do a too strong of a correction, it can have an adverse reaction. So you don't want to create any issues. Just find that nice correction that works for her and works for you to get the point across as to what you want her to do if she's misbehaving. Now, as far as the leashes go, if you want to use a standard buckle collar and a regular leash, that's fine. We highly suggest that you wait until you have a firmer grasp on the obedience training with her and that you've taken her for a few walks and she doesn't pull excessively while on those walks. The reason why is because a buckle collar is simply going to pull back on her instead of creating a tightening effect and giving the proper correction. So until she's used to her neighborhood when you take her for walks, and until she's used to your communication skills, your body language, and your correction noise, the leash is one of those things that will help you give the proper correction. So once you have a firmer grasp, once she has a firmer grasp on how you're going to be training her, you guys have a good relationship. If you want to switch to a regular buckle collar and leash, that's fine. As far as a harness, we do not suggest it for training purposes at all. If after you have gotten her trained and you have decided that you would like to put her on a harness, if she at all starts pulling at that point in time, you need to switch back to this leash and this collar. But if you personally would prefer to have a harness because of the size dog it is, that's your choice, but it is not a good training tool, will not stop pulling and may increase it because of the simple fact that she's not getting the proper correction. So I highly suggest you using this one until you have built a good relationship and she doesn't pull while you're walking. So I'm going to show you, in addition to the doing the training with the leash, I'm also going to do some of it off leash. so that you can see how well she does. The only time that you have to give her a correction is when she is starting to get in front of you and you know that foot is going to get her. You want to make sure that you give her that correction before she gets into the lane, the leg lane. And this will make her understand that she needs to stay over to that side. She does fairly well off leash at following you, even if it is a wide open area. They are a dependent dog, so they would much rather be with you than away. So they're not the typical type of dog that's going to run away to follow something. Unless it's a person that happens to know their name, then they will kind of wander off of one person to go to the next one. That about would be the only time that you'll have any major issues is if she knows somebody else that's in the area, and if they happen to be calling her, she may end up staying with them more than you, or leaving you to go to them if she is off leash. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get started. There's 3 transfer tools, 3 ways we communicate. We communicate verbally, through our hands, and through the leash, with the leash pops as our correction. You ready, Bean? Let's go. Good girl. Good. Good girl. Good. 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 So I gave her that verbal correction when she started to get in front of me, because I want her to know that being in front of me is not where she should be. Good. Let's go. Good. Good. Making sure I acknowledge the proper position. Good girl. Good girl. Good. Good girl. Now I'm going to let her go off leash. Let's go. Good. Good. Another little verbal correction so that she didn't get in my footway. Good. Let's go. Good girl. Good. 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 What are you supposed to do? And of course, as I'm about to give her the leash pop. What hey, come on. What are you doing? There you go. Sometimes they're confused, so it just takes a little bit of patience to kind of communicate with her a little bit more as to what it is you want. Let's go. Good. So I gave the hand signal for sit, the hand signal for stay. We are at about a 10 to 12 foot distance, maybe 13 or 14. I'm an awfully bad judge of distance. She's sitting there patiently. She's not breaking it at all, which is very good for a dependent dog. Is very good for a dependent dog. Good. I simply pointed it to the ground. Sometimes I do a little tap on it. She lied down. Good girl. Once again, at about a 14-foot distance. Come. Good girl, Bean. Good girl. When I say come, break, or I call her name, when she gets to me, she has to sit in order to get the treat. Good. Good. Sit. Good. Down. So I'm going to give her the leash pop. Good. And as I said before, the leash pops are light because they are small, gentle dogs. Stay. I'm walking away with my back to her because it is a highly distractive situation. They must see your eyes. Bean! Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. So I'm going to show you how I communicate through the leash. What are you doing? So you just do leash pops. Good. Up and behind her until she sits. Good. leash pops basically down into the side. Good. Let's go. Good. Good. Good girl. Come. Good. Place. Good. Now, as you saw earlier, I was standing there talking that whole time. She will do fine staying on place for an extended period of time if you are close. So, wherever you're going to be for a few hours, if you work from home, or if you like to cook, or if you're going to sit down and relax for the evening or have company over, if you want her out of the way, bring the place into that room, put her on it, and give her something to do while she's on there. A Kong filled with peanut butter. Something else that has some sort of, maybe like a biscuit inside of it that she's got to try to work out. A soft, chewy toy. As long as she's being monitored, that is absolutely fine. Now, Bean, I have noticed, does like to chew on things. So she may actually be interested in something like a deer antler chew bone. You'd obviously get a small one for her because they have them in different sizes according to the type size dog that you have. But I have noticed that Bean does like to chew on things. It tends to be softer things like her leash or a blanket, but both of those things aren't good for her to chew on. She might enjoy the deer antler. So if you could find a small one, or if you contacted a company that online to see if they, you know, how big or how small of one they had, she might actually enjoy that because, as I said, she is a bit of a chewer. But she also might enjoy something like a nylabone. Those are a little bit softer and they're also edible, but they also come in several different types of flavors and whatnot, so you can figure out what she likes best. Bean! Good girl. Good girl. Kennel? What you doing? So in this situation, I'm going to grab the leash. Kennel. Good. Good. Kennel. Now, this breed is a dependent breed. That being said, working on keeping her quiet in the crate is going to be, besides potty training is going to be your #1 priority if you plan on keeping her in a crate while you're gone, either at work or if you have to go grocery shopping or whatever. You want her to understand that the crate is a good place. She has learned from me that our crates in our facility are a good place to be, and that you're going to get out, and we haven't forgotten you there. But that is not how she's going to think when she gets to your home. So take the time to train her on it. Put her in, take her out, put her in, take her out, leave the door open, play with her in it, give her love and affection while she's in it. If you have to work from home and you can't pay attention to her the whole time, you can put her in the kennel next to you. This will get her used to it. Ultimately, besides potty training, this is going to be the other thing that you're going to work on, getting her to love her kennel at your home. We don't suggest that you put anything soft or edible in it right away, not until she's gotten over her stage of chewing on things like blankets and other things that are inappropriate for her to chew on. Ultimately, once she gets a little older, you could probably put some sort of bed in there and help her enjoy it even more. But for now, just keep it as is, meaning if it's a wire crate, just the hard plastic, or if it's a fancier one, just don't put anything at the bottom of it, because you don't want her, first of all, soiling it and making it dirty and you have to clean it. Second, chewing it up until she's used to being in that kennel, in your home, in your presence. And as I said, leave the door open, let her go in, let her go out, close the door behind her. But ultimately, if you're going to control the door, meaning you closed it at one point in time and then you opened it again, don't let her come out without you doing some sort of gesture of dropping a treat down, dropping your hand down like I will in a minute, or calling her name. You don't want her to learn to just bust out of the door. You want her to learn to respect the door. Break, because it represents all the other doorways in her life. Your front door, your car door, things of that nature ultimately make it unsafe if she learns to just jump out of the doors when they're opened up. She has to learn to be patient. Place. She has to learn to be patient and wait for the signal, the cue word, to get up and out. As far as my correction noise, I would like for you to figure out which works best for you. Do not use the word no. The reason why it is used in conversation too much. So whatever noise comes out of you naturally, as if a child is about to touch something hot and burn themselves, that is the type of correction noise that you want to give to her. Loud, firm, assertive. If it scares her, even better. That will stop her from doing something she's not supposed to be doing. Ultimately, it is the best way to communicate with them and in the fastest way. As far as anything else that might come up, if you have any questions, feel free to give us an email. We will get back to you in 24 to 48 hours. Thank you so much for watching Bean's final video, and I hope you enjoy her as much as I have. Thank you so much.